The Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms, Article 2. Everyone has the following fundamental freedoms. Not everyone has the right, but everyone has. You see that? A. Freedom of conscience and religion, freedom of thought, belief, opinion, and expression, including freedom of the press and other media of communication, freedom of peaceful assembly, and freedom of association. So everyone has freedom of association. Not everyone has a right to the freedom of association, but everyone has freedom of association. You're in possession of this attribute, of this characteristic right now. In the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms, as you saw, it states everyone has the following fundamental freedoms. So it's making a declaration. It's stating something that has already been accomplished in law, something that already is. Everyone has fundamental freedoms. And those freedoms are freedom of your conscience, freedom to choose your religion, freedom of thought, belief, expression, or opinion of that belief, freedom to have a peaceful assembly, and notice the last one, freedom of association. Association. So everyone has the freedom of association. It's not a right, you already possess it. So you can associate with the government, you can associate with the ministers, you can associate with the representatives, or you don't have to. It's your freedom. So just to re-emphasize this point one more time, because it's something that is very important to grasp an understanding of, you have those rights, those fundamental freedoms already. Because the article says everyone has these fundamental freedoms. So you can use those fundamental freedoms to your benefit, for you are in possession of them right now. The Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms, Article 7, Legal Rights. Everyone has the right to life. Now notice that. Everyone has the right. Okay? You're not in possession of it right now. You do not have it. But everyone has the right to life, liberty, and security of the person, and the right not to be deprived thereof except in accordance with the principles of fundamental justice. The Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms, Article 7, it states, everyone has a right to. Now do you notice that? There's a distinction being made here. It doesn't say that everyone has, or everyone has the fundamental freedoms, such as, it says everyone has a right to. Now if you understand that, that produces no obligation. When we jump into the Universal Declaration of Human Rights and Freedoms, it says that everyone has the right to be recognized as a juridical person. No obligation. So here when they use the same phrase, everyone has a right to, it doesn't create an obligation. It's saying these rights are available for you. You can possess these rights, but doesn't mean you have them right now. So everyone has a right to life, to liberty, and to the security of the person. Now some might be saying, well, I'm alive, so I have life, and I have liberty, I'm not in prison right now, and, well, security of the person. They might think that means, well, I'm safe, no one can come in and hurt me. Just read Article 8 and 9 of the rest of this charter, and you'll see that when it talks about liberty, it's already been dealt with, talking about search and seizure, talking about being arrested, and being imprisoned and arbitrarily detained. So this liberty here is not what it's talking about legally or criminally. Article 7 of the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms, as we saw, says everyone has a right to. You don't possess it, you have a right to. And one of them was a right to life. Now if you notice, in law, there's a legal person and a human being, a man or a woman. Now the legal person, it is not considered alive in law. It is considered a dead entity. So when the government deals with you as a legal person, you are not considered alive. You do not have life under their eyes in law because you are a legal person. Now, when you choose to take the designation of a man or a human, you automatically are considered to be alive because that is the only thing that is living besides the animals and other things, but in law is the human, the man. So when you choose that designation, you are alive and you are living. So then you exercise your right to be considered alive. You see, it's a right you have to exercise. By being designated a legal person, you are not considered alive. By being designated or treated as a human, you are considered alive. That's why they can put it conditional and say everyone has a right to. Now, even deeper than that, all of us here in Canada, until we begin to take our distinction, we are considered the legal person, so we do not have life in law. The other right that everyone has in Article 7 is the right to liberty. To liberty. Now, we know that the legal person here in Canada, it is very much controlled. It is controlled through statutes and regulations. And we know that the human, we do not find that expression in law very much. Human being controlled, human being manipulated. The human is under do unto others as you would want done to yourself. Basically common law. And you can find that expression in the Criminal Code of Canada and a few others for the human rights being expressed here in Canada. But those rights that are being expressed in Canada are freeing. These rights here are binding. They bind you up. They control you. So everyone has a right to liberty. If you are considered or designated in law as a legal person, you do not have liberty. If you take your designation as a human, then you can have a lot of liberty. Again, in Article 7, the right that everyone has, that everyone can obtain, is the security of the person. The security of the person. Now, security meaning what is defined as in the Bank Act. Security, monetary value. And that security for your person is for the food, the clothing, the housing, the medical care, and the continuous improvement of the conditions that you are living under. And it is an expression of your natural right, this here, security of the person. It is an expression of the resources that are being extracted from Canada through that commercial system. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights and Freedoms, Article 1. All human beings are born free and equal in dignity and rights. Universal Declaration of Human Rights and Freedoms, Article 3. Everyone has the right to life, liberty, and security of the person. In the Universal Declaration of Human Rights and Freedoms, Article 1, it states that all humans are born free. So they state that all humans are born free. It's something we possess, freedom, because we are born that way. We are in possession of this. In Article 3, it states everyone has the right to the security of the person. Here you go again. It's producing an option. Everyone has the right to the security of the person, but everyone does not possess the security of the person. And the security of the person is very clearly shown in law what that is. Security of the person means that if you suffer poverty, if you don't have food, if you don't have clothing, if you don't have a house to live in, by someone being stuck in that position and not having security in their life, it doesn't promote the growth of Canada. It promotes the destruction. It promotes poverty. That's why they've made this operation of law for everyone, the security of the person. That's why they attached fundamental freedoms and certain living benefits that you are entitled to because you are a human. And you see them expressed in Article 11 of the Covenant of Social, Economic, and Cultural Rights. The International Covenant on Economic, Social, and Cultural Rights. Article 1, subsection 2. All peoples may, so everyone may, for their own ends, freely dispose of their natural wealth and resources, without prejudice to any obligations arising out of international economic cooperation, based upon the principle of mutual benefit and international law. In no case may a people be deprived of its own means of subsistence. The International Covenant on Social, Economic, and Cultural Rights, Articles 2, it states that we, the people, they say the people, meaning persons, the ones who are being controlled, may dispose, security of the person, freely of their natural wealth. Listen to that wording. You may dispose freely of your natural wealth and resources. There's no obligation on you to have your resources part of the public system. And they have no right to deprive you of the security of your person. They can take it away from you through ignorance, but they can't fundamentally deprive you of it in law. Like take away your ability to go through law and get that back. They can't do that. So they hid it in the law. But you have the right to freely dispose of your natural wealth and resources. And you don't have to have it deposited, your patrimony, into a public system, into a public fund that gets turned around and sent to the International Monetary Fund for interest on a debt for that public system. This is your right as a human being. International Covenant on Economic, Social, and Cultural Rights, Article 11. The states parties to the present covenant recognize that the right of everyone to an adequate standard of living for himself and his family, including adequate food, clothing, and housing, and to the continuous improvement of living conditions. The International Covenant of Social, Economic, and Cultural Rights, Article 11, it states that everyone has the right. Again, you see the qualification? It doesn't say that you have this, but you have the right if you go after it, if you pursue this. Everyone has the right to food, clothing, housing, medical care, and education. More than that, that's just the basics. And everyone has the right. You don't possess it right now because you're suffering here and you're trying to strive on your own, but everyone has the right to a continuous improvement of living conditions. That's your right. Because your wealth and your resources that are being extracted from Canada, that secures you this right here. And these charters, they secures you these rights here. The human being, the man and the woman, in all these articles and all these covenants have been given many rights. And some of those rights are food, clothing, housing, education, medical, and continuous improvement of your living condition. Here in Canada, the rights that they give to your legal person, once they finish stripping you of your natural rights, is a right to an old age pension check, a right to a welfare check, and a right to 55% for unemployment insurance if you lose your job for 1 year. These are two different systems completely in operation. Why would anyone stay here? Why did they put us here, better yet? And why don't the ones in the position of power do something about this and stop paying $160 million a day of men and women's money to the international bankers, and stop allowing the banks of Canada to create electronically generated debt accounts and yoke the people up and steal their money from them, their hard energy? Why don't you stand up and fix Canada? We can make this such a beautiful place. I'm done.